Good evening, Titan Nation. Welcome to another edition of Titans and Truth. Welcome to a Black Friday edition of Titans and Truth. I am your man, Blue Enforcer, Chris, and doing it solo, doing it big for my tag team partner, uh, Ms TruthHurts. Since we're in two different parts, I know she's celebrating with her family. I am in the confines of my family in the great city of Baltimore, Maryland. I'm up in Ravens country, bringing you Titans news, and that's what we're here to talk about. I ain't here to talk about no crazy black dirty birds. I'm here to talk about the great Titans. And that's what we're going to talk about, even though we did come up a bit short last week in the game against the Indianapolis Colts, one that I deemed the game of the year because it would have really put us in great position for the playoffs. But unfortunately, we came up a bit short, falling 24-17 to the Indianapolis Colts. And let me tell you, in this game, it was really a tale of two halves that happened. Um, we really started off slow. One of my keys has always been you got to start off fast. You always got to start off fast, get off to a good start, score on your first drive. We dug ourselves into an early hole. We get the ball first, we go 3 and out, Luck goes down the field, scores on each of his first 3 possessions, and they easily go up 21-0 before the first quarter is even over or before we could even do anything. So we really got punched in the mouth early and really had us all out of sorts really to begin the game. But I do really like how our team fought back. Our team played strong. Unfortunately, if this was, Ken Wisenhunt's team from last year or from 2 years ago, this 21-0 lead probably would have stretched out to maybe like a 35-10 or 42-7 or something like that. It would have really gotten ugly had this been last year's team, but luckily it was not. We really fought back. I have to give those guys credit. They definitely fought back in this game. Marcus, actually, for the most part, Marcus actually had an excellent ball game. He was very, very efficient. 25 of 38, 290 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, and this is one of the few times. This is one of the only times where he did not have any turnovers, but it did not result in a victory. So you definitely can't put this on Marcus Mariota, saying that it was his fault that they lost his game. Even though they did not execute well in the first few drives in the first and second quarters, but they did. Excuse me. They did come back and was able to score a touchdown before the half, and went into the locker room down 21-7. And so, instead of being down 3 touchdowns at the half, you're down 2 touchdowns. You get a chance to climb your way back in. And that's what I really liked about how this team responded. They fought back in this game. Years past, it would have been over with by the first quarter. It would have been, over with, quit. Probably would have turned the channel, looked at some other game, or I would have went to sleep already. But instead, they fought back, gave themselves a chance to win. They gave themselves a chance to win, but unfortunately was not able to pull it off. And, it really happened on the 4th and 1 on the last drive, which I'll get to in just a minute. But I am going to go ahead and start with some good news. First off, again, Marcus Mariota had a terrific ball game. Also, I give congratulations to DeMarco Murray. Even though he had a rough game, only 21 carries for 70 yards. But with those 70 yards, he joins the 1,000-yard club. So he becomes the first Titan running back to rush for 1,000 yards in a season since Chris Johnson did it back in 2013. So it has been almost 4 years since we had a 1,000-yard running back. And DeMarco Murray did that in a little over half the season, and there's still quite a bit of the season to go, 5 games left. So I really think he could hit I would say he's gonna get about 1,400 by the end of the year. So I really think he's poised to continue having a great season and everything with that. So definitely congratulations to him. Also, we're about to get to our Star of the Week and Dunce of the Day nominations on that. So we're about to get to that, and I definitely got quite a few votes for that. Definitely, the good was definitely that. Marcus Mariota connected on another beautiful deep ball to Tajay Sharp right on time. So that deep ball is really coming for Marcus Mariota. He's done extremely well with that. And definitely one of our Star of the Day nominations is Marcus Mariota. Another Star of the Week nomination is Rashard Matthews. I mean, Rashard Matthews really ever since the Miami game has really started to come into his own. He had another fantastic ball game today, 9 catches, 122 yards. He's already went over his career mark in receptions for a season. He had 43 last year with the Miami Dolphins. He has 45 catches now. So I want to say, and I could be wrong, he could be on pace for somewhere around 70, maybe 75 catches this season, which would be very good for a wide receiver, which we all thought this is a depleted group and wasn't a really good group. But Rashard Matthews came to his own. Tajay Sharp has been fantastic as well, really coming back into his own as well. And of course, for the second straight week, Tajay Sharp had a touchdown. Actually, I want to say he had 2 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, in this game. I have to make sure to confirm that, but I know he had no, it was 1. I'm sorry, it was 1. That's right, it was 1 because he had the long ball into the end zone. Of course, he did his nice little sleep celebration that he always does. So that was pretty good. He had 4 catches, 68 yards on the day. And for a while, I was wondering if Kendall Wright had disappeared. He had 4 catches, 52 yards, but I really didn't notice him in this game very much. Now, that was the good. The bad. The bad basically was Andrew Luck gave us bad luck again. Like I said, early on in the game, he was on fire. He did pretty well. He had 15 to 28, 262 yards, 2 touchdowns. But threw an interception. But in the first part of the game, he was very good. He was very good. The offense for the Colts really just had our defense all out of whack, all out of sorts. Looked like we were running around, didn't know what we were doing or where we were going. And, there's some definite problems on our defense. And I really think inside linebacker is really starting to become a weakness on this team. Avery Williamson still continues to look out of sorts. Wesley Woodyard looks like his age is showing. Sean Spence, not that good. So I really see, I think we could still use a number 1 wide receiver, even though Rashard Matthews is very good. He could be our 2. I don't know if Kendall Wright gets re-signed. I think Tajay Sharp becomes our number 3. But there may be some packages where it's Rashard Matthews, Tajay Sharp, or with a new receiver in Tajay or a new receiver and Matthews in the 2 receiver set. So I can really see it where it's a rotation between those 3 guys, whoever it may be, that comes in either as Alshon Jeffrey in free agency, or if we draft Mike Williams or Juju Smith-Schuster in the draft, which I would really love one of those guys. But that's me getting off topic. Defensively, again, we just look lost in coverage, which will lead me into my ugly in a bit. The defensive line got some push, which actually would be a good because, Brian Orakpo had 9 sacks. It looks like also, Derek Morgan is up to 8 sacks now on the year, a sack and a half, in the 1.5 sacks in this game as well. And Austin Johnson has really started to play well in the middle in place of Al Woods. Al Woods has been a healthy scratch for the last couple of weeks, which means that Austin Johnson has been really starting to play well, which is why he's been getting more playing time. So that's a really good thing on that. And, you know, you need that. It's a great thing that we have our defensive line, our front three or our front five, I should say, with our outside linebackers are looking really good. But this leads me also into my ugly in just a bit. But also I got to point out the offensive line did not have a great day either. Marcus got sacked 5 times. For the first time this year, Jack Conklin and Taylor Wan gave up sacks in the game. And that's, at least, I mean, it took 11 games for that to happen. But, you never like seeing your quarterback on their back at any point of the game. So that's something, they just have to make an adjustment on that. And I know every team has a bad day. Every offensive line is going to have a bad day. This one was theirs with that. But I think this is not something that's going to linger and carry on as the season progresses. I think this offensive line will fix that problem and we'll be better at it going forward. And we just got to make sure we keep the running game churning also. Now to the ugly. And the ugly, number one, the smallest ugly, was penalties. Penalties were big because it looked like, I believe we had over 10 penalties. We had over 10 penalties in the game, and they were at very crucial times. I'm actually looking for the penalties now. Yes, we had 11 penalties for 109 yards. You can't win games that way. You can't win games with penalties. You can't win games when you're committing penalties at very bad times. Delaney Walker early in the game had a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty when I was listening on the radio, and it necessarily took us out of field goal range, so it cost us points with that, and that's something that you really cannot have is penalties that cost you points. Another big penalty was at the end of the game on the last drive. And instead of us having first and goal inside the 10-yard line with a chance to tie, Marcus had a great scramble, got outside, but there was a holding call on Anthony Fasano, which took it back. And so that eventually took us out of scoring range, was scoring a touchdown. And, a field goal wasn't going to do it. We were down 7. We needed a touchdown to win the game, or at least have a chance to win the game, maybe go for 2. But penalties at inopportune times was definitely ugly. Another ugly, which was a bad that turns into an ugly, the inside linebacker play, because there was a particular play where T.Y. Hilton was lined up as a quarterback in a Wildcat. He comes in, tosses it back to Andrew Luck, who throws across the field to the left side as the Colts were going, I want to say from left to right if you're listening on the radio, or going to the south end, I'm thinking of Lucas Oil Stadium, and I may have that incorrect. But, got it back to Frank Gore, and there was nobody within 10, 15 yards of him. He ended up gaining like 40 yards on a big play, and of course ended up scoring a touchdown on that. So that's definitely ugly. But the ugliest thing, and this leads to a couple of Dunce of the Day nominations, number one was Parrish Cox. Parrish Cox was absolutely horrible in this game. T.Y. Hilton picked on him all day long. Andrew Luck, as a lot of quarterbacks have, they don't really throw towards Jason McCourty. They decided to throw at Parrish Cox. And Parrish Cox got burned quite a few times. And so did Bryce McCain. Even though Bryce McCain came up with a very nice interception, taking it away from T.Y. Hilton, it doesn't excuse the fact that his play has been horrible as well. Parrish Cox had another play where T.Y. Hilton scored a touchdown if he just, and I believe it was on a 4th down, he pretty much had the interception in his hand and T.Y. Hilton just takes it from him. I'm like, do you have those bad of hands that you can't get a good interception? Or at least at worst, knock the ball down so he can't catch it. It's 4th down. If you knock the ball down, turnover on downs, we get the ball back. So that was really bad on his part. And You know, I called this guy Valentino once last week because he actually did something good, even though he did have what I like to call a brown moment. Some people like to call it blonde moments, where he recovered a fumble against where they recovered a fumble against Green Bay. He's pointing the way Green Bay would be going instead of pointing the way the Titans would be going. So he had a little bad moment, but in this game he had a couple of bad moments. There was one in special teams and special teams again begins to be a horrible part of our team because there was a play. Mark Mariani called for the fair catch and was going to let it go, let it bounce to the end zone. Antoine Blake decides to try to field the kick. He tries to field the kick himself and ends up getting dropped at the 2-yard line. Now, luckily for him, Marcus and the gang drove 98 yards down the field and scored on that drive. But the fact is that was a stupid play. Mark Mariani should have been the only one who was coming in with that catch. No one else should have. And the fact that he went back there trying to get it was pathetic. And I just think it is time for him and Parrish Cox and Bryce McCain to go. And it's horrific. I don't like it. I don't like neither one of those corners. I'm not really mad at our safeties. I think Kevin Byard and Damian Stafford will be okay. Dedore Searcy, I don't really hear much out of him, so I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Byard and Damian Stafford are not our starting safeties next season, or if we get one. I mean, there is a certain former Tennessee Volunteer who might be a free agent, which I don't really expect the Kansas City Chiefs to let him go, Eric Berry. But I don't expect the Chiefs to let him go. They're probably going to sign him to a long-term deal, but it would be nice if he came back there with Kevin Byard. That would be a nice safety duo with Eric Berry and Kevin Byard. That would be nice, but that's just a fool's dream. But this does lead into our Star of the Week nominations. Again, I told you Marcus Mariota was a nomination. Rashard Matthews was a nomination. And so our two-tone blue Star of the Week is Rashard Matthews. I got to give it to him. He has stepped up over these last 7 games. He's had 6 touchdowns in the last 7 games. He didn't have one in this one, but he has really started to become one of Marcus's favorite targets. They have really clicked over these last 6-7 games that they've had, and hopefully that will continue going forward, of course, with our game next week against Chicago. So congratulations, Rashard Matthews, on being the Star of the Week. And when there's a star, there is also the dunce. The dumb dunce of the day. And I had a few nominations for that too. Should it be Parrish Cox? Should it be Antoine Blake? Should it be... I've even heard some Delaney Walker for dunce of the day. But clearly, drum roll, dunce of the day, 90% Parrish Cox. 90% Parrish Cox. I'm going to give another 10% to Antoine Blake. Again, anytime he screws up, I'm not going to call him Valentino. I'm like, Valentino sounds pretty cool. But for the most part, yes, Parrish Cox is our dunce of the day with a little small assist to Antoine Blake. I really hope Parrish Cox is gone after this season. I just think he's horrible. It's time to draft or get a new cornerback and maybe move Jason McCourty to safety. That might be a pretty good idea. There will be a couple of good corners coming out in free agency. You got guys like Tremaine Johnson from the Los Angeles Rams, Stephon Gilmore from Buffalo, Prince Akabukamara. I hope I got his name right, from the Jaguars, even though he didn't really do a lot in the time that we played him. But if he stays healthy, he might be a pretty decent corner. So there might be a couple of corners. And then, of course, in the draft, is deep at corner. So I definitely expect the Titans are going to draft, well, one of their first round picks is definitely going to be a corner, without a doubt, in my mind. And there are going to be some good ones. And I think later on in the year, toward the end of the year, or going into the off season, there will, me and Ms TruthHurts, me and TruthHurts, we are going to definitely have a show about off season preview, as well as what we think we should do in the draft. So, star of the week again, Rashard Matthews. Dunce of the day, Parrish Cox, with a little bit of Antoine Blake in there. And so now we're going to, let's do a little pick of the brain, just a little bit, pick my brain a little bit, but don't have my partner here to ask me some questions or whatever, unfortunately. But I didn't really get a bunch of questions from you, so I really need some questions from y'all going forward in the show. So definitely don't feel scared to comment or give me some questions. I mean, I did get some comments from a lot of people saying, this is a very tough loss. This one hurts, and everything with that. And what I say to you is this. Yes, this loss really does hurt. It hurts because, the Colts jumped ahead of us a little bit, and it really damaged our playoff hopes. However, I offer a little sense of hope now. I was angry at first when this game happened, but I'm going to offer some hope, and this is how I offer that. Last night, we should all be thanking the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger. Let's give a thank you to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why I say that? The Pittsburgh Steelers did some dirty work for us. Andrew Luck had a concussion in our game. I guess it was from the Austin Johnson sack, or it was from a sack later in the game. And Andrew Luck had to go through concussion protocol. He did not play last night in the 28-7 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that was big because Scott Tolzien had to go in for him, and it was a rough game for him. Also, another person that was hurt in that was T.Y. Hilton. He suffered some kind of a back injury during the game. I think in the first half of the game, he did not return to the game. So the Colts are hurting a little bit. I'm pretty sure Andrew Luck will probably be back next week, most likely. I don't know what happened with T.Y. Hilton also. But with Pittsburgh beating the Colts are now 5-6. The Colts are now 5-6, and we are, of course, 5-6 as well. So if we win this game against the Bears coming up on Sunday, we'll be 6-6. We'll be a half game ahead of them. And then, of course, if Houston loses to Green Bay, then we'll be a half game behind the Texans. They'll be 6-5. We'll be 6-6. The Colts will be 5-6. So we're still going to be in the race for the division title, but we have no more margin for error. And that was another point, I think. And shout out to my man Travis Davis. We were having a conversation about this as far as, are there any more losses that the Titans could take? What is their margin of error? Their margin of error is pretty small now. He said they really can't afford any more games to lose, and honestly, that is true. I think the Titans have a realistic chance if they can win these next 5 games straight, which will be very difficult, but it is doable. I mean, we got the Bears coming up. They're very much hit with injuries, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. But then after that, they have a bye week, and then they have 2 weeks to prepare for the Denver Broncos coming in. That's going to be a tough matchup defensively. And then also the Kansas City Chiefs on the road, the Jags on the road, and then also Houston to close it out at home. All of those games are winnable games. None of them are just, oh my God, impossible. No way we can win them. I think the Denver game is still winnable. I mean, we don't face another, and that's a great stat. These last 5 games, we do not face a prolific quarterback for the rest of the year. That is good for us. We are going to be facing some good defenses coming up with the Broncos and the Chiefs. But again, those are winnable games. If we play our game, we have a chance to win. If we win all 5, we're 10-6, most likely division champs. if we go 9-7, and it comes down to the last game, we beat Houston, we can still clinch the division as long as the Colts have a worse record than us. So we still have a chance. We still have an opportunity. But we got to take advantage of that, and we have got to play better, and we have got to not let our chances slip away. And that's just a little bit of pick the brain with that. You know, I really still believe in this team, and they have a chance. They definitely have a chance, and no matter what happens, this is a very successful, very good season so far. We've already almost more than doubled our win total from last year. We've matched our wins from the last two seasons combined. Last two seasons combined, we were 5-27. Right now, we're 5-6. So that's something to be proud of, and this team is only going to get better going into next year. And so now, a little bit of preview of the Bears game. This is going to be a tough game with the weather conditions because we know how Chicago is with weather. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. But this is a game that the Titans should most definitely win. Jay Cutler is doubtful to play, and it looks like he's not going to go. Excuse me for that. And Matt Barkley, formerly of the Trojans and formerly of the Eagles, is going to be starting at quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Also, no Alshon Jeffrey. He's, of course, suspended for violation of the substance abuse policy for PEDs. So he's out for this game. Jarrell Freeman on defense is out for this game. He's also suspended. Leonard Floyd has the rookie outside linebacker from Georgia. I believe the Bears' 10th pick in the draft. No, 11th pick in the draft. I'm sorry. He's also been ruled out due to concussion. And so the Bears are really limping into this game with a lot of tough injuries. Their quarterback is out, their wide receiver is out, their star outside linebacker is out. So this is a game we can really take advantage of, and we should really put it on the Bears and take some of our frustration out on them. And so this is a game that I think we should win. Marcus should go into this game, not make many mistakes. I think DeMarco Murray gets back on a roll and gets to yet another 100-yard game. And go out there and try to catch Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, you're not far behind him. You can catch him for that rushing title. And I really think the Titans are coming in pretty healthy in this game. Looks like everybody, quite a few people practiced. Taylor Lewan, who had a knee sprain in the game against the Colts, looks like he's going to go. DeMarco Murray's going to go. I believe Philip Supernaw, our third tight end, I think is the only Titan that may not be playing in this game, and I think that was due to a concussion. So Jace Amaro may finally get another opportunity and get on the active on the game day roster. So I really hope that happens. I hope he get a chance to see what he can do for this team, because I think he could be our Delaney Walker replacement. But I am going to pick the Titans to win this game. I think it's going to be a score. I'm going to go a little bit low on this one. I'm going to say 24. I'm going to say 24-10. Tennessee wins this game. I think they'll win convincingly with a victory in Soldier Field and approve to 6-6 on the year and stay within the playoffs going into a very well-deserved bye week. And so that's how I feel about that. I think that's going to be very good. I hate I don't have Ms TruthHurts in for Mika's moment, but I have something in her stead, which I like to call the Blue Enforcer Bombshell. or another name for it I would say is Blue Enforcer's Blast. So what I want to do in a good way, I want to put on blast the Tennessee Titans and drop this bombshell on a good news. I really want to give them congratulations for a lot of things that they've done. Ava Williamson helped with, I believe he was giving some turkeys away, giving some food away at a school this past week. And also the Tennessee Titans organization was giving away, was feeding the homeless, under the bridge, under Jefferson Street Bridge. I believe on Tuesday night. They did that, where they usually do that every year, where they get with, I believe there's a ministry who goes and ministers to people who end up sleeping under that bridge or whatever. And they fed a lot of people. They really touched a lot of people. And that was something very special, really giving of themselves and in the community. I believe they've been doing that for the last couple of years. They've been really doing that. So shouts out to the Tennessee Titans organization, to Amy Adams Strunk, our owner, to John Robinson, our GM, Coach Malarkey, to Marcus, to all the Titan players, to Avery Williamson, all those guys for doing such a great job in the community and really putting themselves out there. And you know, I know a lot of people say they don't really see them in action or anything. These guys are out there. These guys are out there, and some of them are very nice, approachable guys. You know, they're not ones who, you know, will sit back and be like, oh, God, here comes another fan, want an autograph or something. No, these guys are pretty open and they're pretty giving of themselves. So I really think it's a good thing. This is a team we can get behind. This is a team we should be proud of as far as giving in the community and the work that they do on the field. So we really need to make sure we start supporting them better. I've been to a couple of games this year. I may go to one more, but the team is really trying to do some things and do some good things. So we really need to support them and on that, and give thanks when they do some good things. And before I get out of here, I am thankful for all of you tuning in with us. I am thankful for all of the fans, Miss Larita, my girl Dee Dee, Travis, Mr. Big Bonfire, Johnny Goodman, Chanel, Ashley, my girl Ashley, some of my guys at work, Big Johnny, Johnny Vol, you know, like I said, Travis, I think I mentioned you already. My brother, my boys, Trevor, any of my guys in Sigma, brother Williams, who actually ran into me at the airport before I came here, said he's been paying attention. Everybody, all Titan Nation, we got to tighten up together. This is the only way we're going to make it through as a family. We got to do this together. We all need to lean on each other, you know, and everything, because this is a long season. This is a good, you know, a decent season so far. And let's cheer them on to the finish line these last 5 games, because we may very well be heading to the playoffs. And if we're not, we should still be proud of them, because they have done a lot more than we all anticipated and everything. So let's stay positive. Let's tighten up. And also, my biggest thank you, my biggest Titan thank you, definitely is to my tag team partner, Tamika, Ms TruthHurts. I thank you so much for being a part of this show with me, for taking this journey with me. You are a true Titans fan, a part of the Titan Empire, and so you got my love and support. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you, to all of your family. I know everybody been out shopping. Hope you had some good bargains. Hey, send me some bargains too. And remember, like, subscribe to the page. Subscribe to the page on YouTube, Titans and Truth. Look for me on Facebook, Chris A. Newell, or Ms TruthHurts. We're going to be having a page coming soon on Facebook. And also hit me up on Instagram at Blue Enforcer, Blue_Enforcer, EN4 CER 1914 on Instagram. So hit us up. Questions, comments. What do you think of the show? You know, the likes and the subscriptions. We're going to do a drawing later this year for Christmas. So definitely be in store for that. But for myself and on behalf of Ms. TruthHurts, thank y'all for tuning in. And we will see y'all again next week, hopefully with another victorious edition of Titans and Truth. Have a happy Thanksgiving and a holiday, Black Friday, and we will see y'all again next week. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for tuning in. Tighten up. TITAN. We gonna do it big. 24-10, we beating them Bears. Truth hurts, got love for you. A Titan Nation stand up. Better recognize we gon' tighten up. Good night, y'all.